Katherin, welcoming you to the 2178th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline 14th of February 2019. The readers this week are Maureen, Ros, and Katherin, with Dem on the controls. The editor was Phillip, and the production and distribution team is Peter and Sandra. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon, Harry Brewer, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from the Enfield Independent and the Enfield Dispatch, and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from various sources. The lead story this week is Bin collections may be cut despite objections. Before the news, the sunrise and sunset times for the week, beginning 19th of February. Sunrise 07:08 and sunset 17:20. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And now Maureen will read to you from some special notices.
Hello. This is a notice from the London Vision Working Age Forum about an event on Wednesday, the 27th of February, from 6 till 8 p.m. Booking will close on February the 18th. It's about Steve Tyler, who is an expert in assistive technology. Our guest this month, he's spent decades managing innovative tech projects that have led to significant leaps in the accessibility of products for the VI community. In this session, he will tell us more about some of the work he's involved in and how he's leveraged technology to support him through his long career, and how you yourself may be able to help him further improve the assistive tech support available to VI people. Registered blind since a young age, Steve is currently Director of Assistant Technology at Leonard Cheshire. He's also heavily involved in leading legislation and regulatory changes, such as the standards that saw the introduction of Braille being produced on pharmaceutical packaging. Steve also sits on the Accessibility Strategy Board for Google and Microsoft, and is heavily involved in various other assistive technology projects. The meeting will be on Wednesday, the 27th of February, from 6 till 8 p.m, at the Pocklington Hub, Tavistock House South, Tavistock Square, London, WC 1H9LG. There will be assistance from Euston Station to our venue to those who request it. To book your place, please send us an email to waf.london@londonvision.org. Bookings, remember, will close on Monday, the 18th of February.
Bin collections may be cut despite objections. Bin collections in Enfield look likely to be cut to once a fortnight, even though most residents who were consulted opposed the change. Council officers have recommended changing the borough's refuge and recycling collections to once every 2 weeks and introducing a £65 a year charge for the fortnightly garden waste rounds. The shake-up is the most drastic of the proposals made in a recent public consultation, which drew more than 5,500 responses. That's more than any other Enfield Council consultation. It would make the biggest savings for the council, amounting to 7.5 million over 5 years, and would also see the rollout of separate weekly food waste collections in line with the Mayor of London's environment strategy. The shake-up could boost the borough's recycling rate to 49%, up from 38%, the current scheme. But it was the least popular of the 8 options presented to members of the public, backed by just 9% of the consultation respondents. 2/3 of the respondents, 66%, wanted to keep the current weekly collections. Despite this, the report states, it can generally be said there was no strong majority for any of the proposals. 66% of the respondents preferred to retain the current collections, but 46% strongly agreed and 20% just agreed. Tory councillors called for weekly collections to stay during a debate at full council on January the 30th. Councillor Lindsay Rawlings, Conservative member for Town Ward, warned fortnightly collections could lead to a rise in fly tipping and dirtier streets, particularly in the east of the borough. But council leader, Councillor Nezil Kaziskan, said failing to save money on bin collections would mean having to make cuts to essential services such as adult social care. Enfield Council needs to find £18 million of savings or increased income in 2019-20 and a further £12 million during the following year. It has already had to save £178 million since 2010 due to government funding cuts. Keeping collections as they are would cost the council an extra £520,000 a year due to the rising cost of progressing waste. But the report states feedback given during the consultation has been considered and proposed measures would mitigate against these concerns and have been addressed within this very report. If the proposal is agreed, Enfield Council will plough £500,000 of the savings into cleaning the streets and clearing up fly tipping. It will also hire 2 more recycling officers and 2 more enforcement officers.
Calls for council to stop investment in fossil fuel companies. The council has defended its record on tackling climate change after facing calls to stop investing in fossil fuel companies. Enfield Council claimed it is reviewing its investment strategy and is on course to achieve a major reduction in its carbon emissions, which can contribute to global warming, by 2025. It comes after Green campaign group Divest Enfield urged the local authority to pull its pension funds out of dirty, risky fossil fuel investments. The group was responding to a motion tabled by Councillor Vicky Pite for the last full council meeting that called on the local authority to declare a climate emergency. Councillor Pite's motion, which was not discussed, called for a report into how the council could help to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. Divest Enfield spokesperson Adam McGibbon said the council currently invests millions in fossil fuels via its pension funds and should take urgent action. But, the council said, the amount of pension money indirectly invested in fossil fuels is around £18 million, just 1.8% of the total, and much lower than the £60 million figure quoted by Divest Enfield. Enfield Council follows guidelines from the Local Authority Pension Fund Forum, the LAPFF, which represents 75 funds spread across the country. In November, the LAPFF issued a policy framework to help member funds approach the investment implications of climate change. The council has set up a local energy company, Energetic, and is working to improve the energy efficiency of all 85 council buildings, including the Grade 1 listed Forty Hall, the Civic Centre and the Dugdale Centre. Enfield Council is not unusual in having investments in fossil fuel firms. Large numbers of UK pension funds remain invested in companies such as BP and Shell. Such firms are known for fossil fuel extraction, yet also claim to be investing in greener alternatives. A council spokesperson said, Enfield Council has recently looked at how environmental, social and governance (ESG) issues impact upon the council's pension fund. We are already reviewing the council's investment strategy statement to see how we determine and monitor our investment decisions, and will consider all of the ESG matters. This will enable us to take an approach that marshals best advice, financial consequences of choices, and any legal implications. Since 2011, Enfield Council has reduced its carbon footprint by 45%, exceeding its carbon reduction target 3 years early. The borough itself is on track for a 40% reduction in its carbon footprint by 2020, despite a rapidly growing population. We are now aiming to reduce the council's carbon footprint by 60% in 2025.
Boyfriend filmed Luella as she took an overdose. The daughter of Holby City actor John Mitchie was filmed by her boyfriend as she overdosed on drugs at a music festival, a court has heard. Luella Fletcher Mitchie, 24, was given the drugs by her on-off boyfriend, Sion Broughton, 29, and died as her parents rushed to help her, it is alleged. She took the Class A party drug at Bestival in Dorset on September the 10th, 2017, and died in Woodland an hour before her 25th birthday. Her parents rushed to the site after telephoning Broughton as Miss Fletcher overdosed and heard her screeching, Winchester Crown Court heard. However, Broughton insisted that she was fine and referred to Miss Fletcher Mitchie as a drama queen. Broughton of Enfield, North London, denies manslaughter and supplying Miss Fletcher Mitchie the drug. Prosecutor William Mousley QC said Broughton did not get help because he was handed a suspended jail term 1 month earlier and he feared the consequences. He said, she died as a result of having taken a large dose of Class A drug, known colloquially as 2CP, which he had given her at a music festival. Mr. Mousley added, it had a terrible effect upon her, leading to her death after a significant period of suffering in the woods close to the festival site, all of which Broughton must have observed. Jurors heard Broughton filmed Miss Fletcher Mitchie, a yoga and dance teacher, as her condition deteriorated. In clips shown to the court, she repeatedly shouts at Broughton to telephone her mother, Carol Fletcher Mitchie, but he tells her to put your phone away. Carol Fletcher Mitchie eventually contacted Broughton at 6:48 p.m. and heard her daughter screeching. Her brother Sam also contacted Broughton and urged him to seek medical help. But Broughton sent Sam a message which said, call back in an hour, and referred to Miss Fletcher Mitchie as a drama queen, the jury heard. Jurors were told Sam had also been given 2CP drug by Broughton previously. When Sam then asked if Miss Fletcher Mitchie had taken the drug, Broughton told him, yeah, but I bumped it up a bit. Mr. Mousley said Sam thought that meant either a larger dose or a combination of it with other drugs. Broughton had also previously admitted supplying the drug to Miss Fletcher Mitchie and to her friend at Glaston Festival in June 2017, the jury heard. Mr. Mousley added, in addition, during that extended period of time when they were together, he filmed her on a number of occasions. He filmed her when she was disturbed, agitated, and then seriously ill over a period of hours. He even did so, the prosecution suggested, after she was apparently dead. A month before the incident, Broughton was handed a 24-week prison sentence, suspended for 1 year. Mr. Mousley said his failure to get her treatment, which may well have saved her life, was born of selfishness and in self-preservation. Because to have done otherwise, he knew he would have exposed himself to the possibility of arrest and prosecution for a criminal offence. Miss Fletcher Mitchie was found dead by a security steward in the woodland, 400 metres from the festival hospital tent, at about 1 a.m. A post-mortem examination found 2 CP toxicity and traces of ketamine and MDMA. Mr. Mousley said a medical expert, Professor Charles Deakin, estimated a 90% chance of survival with early intervention. Jurors were told Miss Fletcher Mitchie occasionally used party drugs, including 2CP and MDMA. She tried to take pills in festival, but they were confiscated by security. She told Broughton, who had travelled to the event separately, and he replied that he would bring some, the jury heard. Stephen Camlish, QC, defending, said Broughton and Miss Fletcher Mitchie were in love with each other. He said, "You will hear from experts that no one has ever been known to die from taking this drug, 2CP, or taking an overdose." Miss Fletcher Mitchie had acquired the drug herself, he said, adding, "This is not gross negligence or manslaughter. The trial continues."
Billboards to help raise awareness of rough sleepers. Billboards and digital screens raising awareness of rough sleeping in the capital will be used to tackle homelessness. This comes as part of a campaign launched in November by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, when he installed 35 contactless donation points across the capital. The £200,000 collected through them so far has gone to a group of 22 charities tackling homelessness. Mr. Khan said, "It is a national disgrace that so many people are being forced to sleep rough, and we know that compassionate Londoners want to help in any way they can." These innovative billboards, gifted by Clear Channel, will help to raise awareness of how to help rough sleepers during the freezing weather. Mr. Khan also called on the government to address the causes of rough sleeping in order to end homelessness. More than 130 billboards and screens will be opened across London and will be triggered by data from the Met Office. When the temperature reaches zero, the adverts will tell Londoners how to direct charity StreetLink to people sleeping on the streets. StreetLink connects rough sleepers with support services in the capital, and so far, nearly 10,000 referrals of homeless people by members of the public have been made to this very charity. The emergency shelters for rough sleepers were opened across the capital in December and have already been open for 24 nights this winter. Boroughs also signed up to the In for Good principle, a promise that when a rough sleeper goes to an emergency shelter, they will be accommodated there until a support plan is put in place to help them off the streets for good.
4-year-old joins charity campaign. A young girl whose dad lost a close friend to a brain tumour is starring in a marketing campaign which will raise funds to help find a cure for the disease. Myla Hall is featuring in this year's national Wear a Hat Day campaign by the Brain Tumour Research Charity in memory of her dad's close friend, Steve Lloyd. The 4-year-old from Southgate is among a handful of children taking part in Brain Tumour Awareness Month in March. Like Myla, all the children have either been bereaved by a brain tumour, are living with a brain tumour, or have a close family member who has been diagnosed. The kids, aged up to 13, are donning their best headwear, from beanies to cowboy hats, baseball caps to novelty headpieces, and are asking others to join them for Wear a Hat Day 2019. This year, it takes place on March the 29th and marks its 10th year. Myla's dad Leon lost close friend and colleague Steve in September 2015. The two met at Transport for London and worked together following their apprenticeships in the early 90s. But their friendship was cut short following Steve's diagnosis with a glioblastoma multiforme in 2008. The dad of two outlived his prognosis, but the tumour was highly aggressive and inoperable, and Steve died aged 40, leaving his wife Angela and daughters Bethany 12 and Chloe 10. Leon, 46, said, "Steve's diagnosis and death were a terrible blow to all who knew him, and myself and other colleagues have been supporting brain tumour research ever since. It's an honour to now have Myla starring in the campaign, and she said she is so excited to have her photos taken for Uncle Steve. I hope by sharing our experience of the disease that we can inspire people to support Wear a Hat Day. It's an easy way to make a difference, and every person that joins in will bring us closer to a cure."
And now for something a little more light-hearted. We all remember Sooty and Sweep, right? Following a very exciting 2018 in which Sooty celebrated his 70th birthday, he'll be launching his 2019 with a new theatre tour of Sooty's Magic Show. The nation's favourite yellow bear will be coming to Williot's Theatre in Potter's Bar on Sunday, May the 19th, together with Sweep, Sue, and his TV pal, Richard Cadell. Here we speak to Sooty's television presenter of 20 years, Richard, to see why Sooty's Magic Show is set to be an unmissable treat for the whole family. We asked, what kind of mischief can audiences expect in Sooty's Magic Show? Richard replied, "This is Sooty doing what he does best, magic. So the audience can expect to be saying, 'Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy,' a great deal. Sooty will be performing some amazing tricks, including sawing a lady in half, floating a child from the audience, and making it snow. Sweep will be getting in the way with his own disastrous magic, most of which revolve around sausages. You'll be joined on the tour by special guests such as circus stars Michael Jordan and Fantasia de la Nuit. So what's their role in the show? Michael Jordan's an amazing circus artist and a fabulous magician. So with Sooty's help, he'll be performing some large-scale Las Vegas-style illuminations, along with some incredible juggling and circus tricks. Fantasy de la Nuit will allow Sooty and Sweep to perform some incredible tricks using the magic of ultraviolet light. And it has to be seen to be believed. Of course, making the television show is a lot of fun, but Sooty's always been at his best in front of a live audience, where he can make not only the children laugh, but all the adults too. Plus, after each performance, there's a chance for everybody to meet Sooty, and it's always such a pleasure to meet his fans. 2018 saw Sooty celebrate his 70th birthday, and this included a huge birthday celebration on Blackpool Pier. So what was it like having Sooty's biggest fans all in one place? And Richard replied, "It was absolutely amazing and overwhelming, actually. There's so much love for this little bear. It's been at the heart of so many people's childhoods over the last 70 years, and over 1,500 people turned up to celebrate, every age and every generation. It just felt like one big family. So you've now been Sooty's television presenter for 20 years. How's that journey been for you? Well, the last 20 years have flown by, and I've just had a ball. It was really a life changer for me, and I've loved every second of it. I feel honoured and privileged to be trusted with such an iconic and well-loved character. There have been so many highlights, but I think the most humbling thing is to see the power that Sooty has to bring hope and happiness to those less privileged than ourselves. We've raised significant funds for charities, and we've made a real difference to certain people's lives. That's one element I never expected, and it's been wonderful to see Sooty make a difference. So after the tour, what does the rest of 2019 and the future hold for the Sooty show? Well, said Richard, we have lots planned. We have for several years been working on a full feature-length movie, which will continue to progress this year. It's a tough business, but all the elements are there, and the plan is to get the cameras rolling this year. It's out of my hands personally, but a lot of eminent people are working to make it a reality. So we have to keep the diary clear, and just in case. We have just completed a spectacular pantomime, and we'll definitely be performing live again this Christmas. And we're looking forward to that immensely.
And here's some more exciting theatrical news. Young actors deliver message of hope. Young actors to perform at shows throughout half-term. This weekend, a performing arts charity is bringing its show Wolf to the Leicester Square Theatre. Streets Ahead's production is based on The Three Little Pigs and includes children from Barnet, Enfield and Haringey. Performed by two casts, each consisting of 4 characters aged between 10 and 13, the story of Wolf focuses on the themes of loss, hope and stereotyping, all expressed through an original soundtrack, dance tricks and off-the-wall choreography. Elizabeth LaHave, BAFTA award winner and artistic director of Streets Ahead, said, "There is something endearing about children delivering messages of hope through theatre. Children are taught and spoken to by adults every day, so watching children reenact everyday situations of deep friendships, identity and loss completely engages the younger members of the audience. The process is devising Wolf. The process in devising Wolf was largely based on role play and workshops with the children, and their views were an integral part to the development of our production of Wolf."
Fighting to save Green Belt. Enfield Council's cabinet member Ahmet Oykana was recently quoted as saying that options for the borough's local plan include looking at a tiny section, approximately 5 to 7% of green belt land, and considering whether it may be suitable for quality and affordable homes for families. That is a lot of land, approximately double the size of Trent Park. The main area possibly earmarked to fulfil this need is Cruise Hill. That has been confirmed in the council's draft local plan document, which is currently out for public consultation, and with the recent purchase by a property developer of Wye Vale Garden Centre. Enfield Roadwatch is a campaign group that began life in 2015 following the production of a feasibility study by Fairview New Homes and the Wren Academy on the possibility of developing the Glebe, a field adjacent to Enfield Road. They wanted to build a new school and more than 300 homes there. The Glebe is greenbelt land and was deemed by Enfield's Roadwatch's 20,000 supporters as worth saving because of its importance to wildlife as a green link between Trent Park and Boxers Lake. As our campaign developed, it became apparent that the green belt, not only in Enfield, but throughout Britain, was under threat, and Enfield Road Watch teamed up with the London branch of the Campaign to Protect Rural England, CPRE, to resist and make people aware of this continuous threat. The Council's draft local plan suggests that brownfield land that has been previously developed, is in short supply in Enfield. With the help of CPRE London, a detailed study is now being undertaken to identify sufficient land which could be developed and provide the homes necessary to meet all but the highest housing target. Our message will be conveyed to the Council as part of the consultation process, but we need more voices to make them listen and carry out the wishes of the people who live in the borough. We have studied the local plan and established a full response on the Enfield Road Watch website. This is where we need your help. If you care about keeping Enfield green, please visit the Enfield Road Watch website for more information and complete the consultation. Let the Council know your views about protecting the green belt, and let's keep it for our future generations. Once it's gone, it's gone. Together we are stronger, is the mantra of Enfield Road Watch. And to support the Enfield Road Watch campaign to protect the borough's green belt land, visit www.enfieldroadwatch, that's all one word, enfieldroadwatch.co.uk.
Now we have news of an explosive science show for children. This isn't an ordinary science show. The Ministry of Science Live 2019 comes jam-packed with fun, laughter and plenty of amazing science and history, which includes a fully operational hovercraft, massive cannons with lots of bangs, a journey through the different stages of the scientific method whilst trying to capture a shadow, and look out for Darth Vader playing with plasma. Investigating the inventors and engineers who have shaped the modern world we live in, the audience experience everything from liquid nitrogen flowers to hydrogen bottle rockets, cat food tins to hovercraft, and methane to the invention of the battery. Expect loud explosions and much more. Ministry of Science Live is a fully engaging, interactive experience that explores energy and engineering using brilliantly designed demonstrations and historical references as a narrative, combining stimulating live entertainment with the world of education. The show's primary aim is to inspire and educate young people through the medium of live theatre. Launched in 2014, Ministry of Science has become a firm favourite with audiences around the world. The show follows the UK curriculum whilst proving that science and engineering is fun for all that attend. The show is written by Mark Thompson, who's developed engaging educational programmes and live shows around the world, working with organisations such as the British Council, the Eden Project, Mishkat Centre for Renewable Energy, and the Abu Dhabi Festival. The show will be at the Millfield Theatre, Silver Street, Edmonton, on Tuesday, March the 19th at 1 o'clock and at 6:30. For details, contact the theatre on 0208 807 6680 or on the web at
The supermarket has been overwhelmed with donations since the food bank collection point was installed. Customers at Asda in Chase Side can donate non-perishable food items to North Enfield Food Bank on their way out of the store, and the drop-off point has been increasingly popular since being installed 2 years ago. Shop manager Gifty Bano said, "We're always overwhelmed with the generosity of our customers. It's not unusual here for a customer to do a £50 shop and donate the entire trolley. The response is amazing." Kerry Coe from North Enfield Food Bank said, "It allows us to have a donation point throughout the year. This is so vital to ensure we have enough food to meet the needs of our community, and we are so thrilled to work with Asda to help support those in crisis."
Go ahead for £1 million flood scheme. Albany Park will be used to store floodwater from the Turkey Brook as part of a £1 million project to reduce flood risk for more than 200 nearby homes. It is proposed to restore 350 metres of the Turkey Brook within Albany Park, using it as a flood storage area at times of heavy rainfall. There is said to be a 1% annual chance of the river overflowing and flooding homes, but climate change will increase this risk. Enfield Council last month agreed to contribute £250,000 to the scheme, added to the £346,000 from the Greater London Authority and £377,000 from the Environment Agency. The new flood storage area would be able to hold 25,000 cubic metres of water, about the size of 10 Olympic-sized swimming pools. By naturalising the river, the project will also create new habitats for wildlife, with the Turkey Brook currently being inaccessible to many species because it sits within a concrete channel.
In our regular councillors column, Enfield Lock Ward member Berthan Demeril highlights some of the big issues facing the borough. "I became a councillor because I believe they can help make changes in people's everyday lives, and I was proud to be elected as Labour councillor in May 2018 for Enfield Lock Ward. Fly tipping, increasing violent crime, drug use, housing, antisocial behaviour, access to GPs and transport problems, especially trains, have been amongst the biggest issues and concerns for many residents in Enfield Lock and indeed across the whole of the Enfield Borough. As a councillor, I intend to focus on improving those areas by working together with my fellow councillors, council officers, police and local residents' associations. I would like to create a community spirit where everyone cares about what happens to their neighbours. Since being elected, I've been working hard to improve the lives of the residents in my ward. I do this by listening and raising their concerns, by being present and accessible, and by being on the doorstep, and by holding ward surgeries and ward forums. Enfield Council has endured enormous cuts since 2010 and is facing further cuts. These threaten to have a big impact on our crucial public services. But as a Labour-run council, we are trying our best to make sure that we still deliver for all our communities. It's not easy. Each and every one of us feels the pain of these cuts and the impact they will have on our communities. These cuts have already hurt our communities and, of course, has had a direct link with the reduction of bobbies on the beat. Hence, the level of violent crime has soared in Enfield. The council is accountable to residents and therefore we have regular consultation about proposed changes. We ask you to participate and make your voices heard. As a newly elected councillor, I'm excited and passionate about my role. I love it when residents are also passionate about the area they live in and they want to support us in achieving these improvements. I invite residents to come and see me at my surgeries and make me aware of the issues that they are facing, and I promise to represent the many, not the few. Councillor Demerel is one of 3 councillors elected to represent Enfield Lock, and along with Gunnar Aydin and Elif Erbil, surgeries are held every Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30 at Ordnance Unity Centre, and on the last Saturday of every month from 1 till 2 p.m. at the Enfield Island Village Library. You can call them on 07971 672 759 or email, and that's councillor CLLR Birsen BIRSEN Demerel DEMIREL at enfieldcouncil.gov.uk.
And here's a very topical article written by Enfield resident and German citizen Christine Anker, and it's on how she's feeling as the UK gets to exit the European Union next month. She's entitled this "The Struggle to Feel at Home in Brexit Britain." There is no more certainty on the future pathway of Brexit than there was when the country decided on the referendum in 2016. A clear majority in Enfield voted in favour of staying in the European Union. For many of its residents, the outcome has had a lasting, only subtle impact on their lives. Unlike many of my friends or even my colleagues at work who expected the vote to be in favour of remaining, I thought chances were 50-50. But I was still in disbelief when David Dimbleby announced the result with his now famous words, "We're out." I truly felt the collective we was aimed at me. Overnight, a sense of certainty and belonging was turned upside down in just a moment. Nobody has ever confronted me, but I started to speak more quietly in public, so my German accent did not show too much. I became more apologetic when using public services, such as the NHS, perhaps somewhat irrationally thinking that I was being taken somebody else's place. The fun of being a foreigner in a multicultural city began to evaporate. I came to live in London in 2001. It was a planned stint of 3 months' work experience, but it turned into a permanent stay. I was entrusted with exciting opportunities, and when I described my new home to others, I would talk about the genuine kindness and tolerance of people and of London as being a place of vibrancy and multiculturalism. I am grateful for my experiences here and the opportunities this has given me. As with many of my generation, I took for granted growing up and travelling in a seemingly borderless Europe. Of course, there was the Iron Curtain that partitioned Europe, and I lived in Berlin when the wall fell in 1989. It was a time of rapid change as Germany grew into something new, and I thought this would be the only time history had a direct impact on my life. My family's home is now Enfield. Our daughter goes to a local school. We love going to Forty Hall and Middleton House, Capel Manor. We really do not want to be anywhere else. But I do worry how things will change, how the economic impact of Brexit, even the word makes me shudder, could make our borough poorer and less diverse. I expect there will be an impact on the financial public institutions and services. My partner and daughter both hold British passports, but I wonder how it will feel when one part of my family goes through a different border control than I. A hard Brexit would make me reconsider if Enfield could remain home. Many of my fellow Germans have a strong affinity for the UK, its history, its vibrancy, fashion, music, the Olympics, royal weddings. What I feel most saddened about is the potential loss of an experience for future generations. Travelling and working abroad without borders has formed part of my identity, and it is a treasured experience of my life. It is undoubtedly an achievement of post-war Europe, for which I have learnt to be so grateful.
Singing with Friends. Enfield Choral Society is welcoming new members as it gears up for a busy year of performances. I have always enjoyed singing, says Ian Mackenzie, whose piece this is. So a few years ago, I was persuaded to go along to an Enfield Choral Society rehearsal. I was immediately impressed by the choir's level of expertise and commitment. It was such a warm, friendly group, people of all ages with different jobs and backgrounds, that I felt lucky to be able to join them as one of the basses. The standard of performance is driven by our musical director, Mark Sprosen. Mark is a talented and experienced professional musician who has a leading role in choral music in the UK. His enthusiasm and great sense of humour are encouraging for all members. In line with the Society's educational aims, he provides choral training and also feedback for any member who wants to sing solos. We perform 4 concerts each year. Our main repertoire is classical choral music. In recent years, we have sung pieces by major European composers, including Bach, Haydn, Schubert and Verdi. We have also performed music by more modern composers, such as Leonard Bernstein, Francis Poulenc, and Estonian Avro Pärt. Summer concerts have included opera choruses and lighter songs, for example from Gilbert and Sullivan, and musical theatre. On Saturday the 2nd of March, we are looking forward to performing Handel's great oratorio, The Messiah, at St Mary Magdalene Church, a show that will raise money in aid of the Alzheimer's Society. We will have professional soloists and a Baroque orchestra with period instruments. It should be an exciting evening. We enjoy working with other local musical organisations, having held concerts in the past with Enfield Chamber Orchestra and the Children's International Voices of Enfield. On Saturday the 29th of June, we will also be performing a jazz concert, including Will Todd's Mass in Blue and a new composition written by Mark. If you have an interest in singing, why not come along to a rehearsal and see if you would like to take part and enjoy the Enfield Choral Society experience for yourself. We are always looking for new singers to join our 79-strong team. No audition necessary, just some singing ability and enthusiasm. The Enfield Choral Society meet every Tuesday from 7:30 p.m. at St Stephen's Church Hall, Bushill Park. For more information, email membership@Enfield Choral Society, all one word, .org.uk.
Supporting local culture, a fund available for young people in Southgate. The Southgate Cultural Fund ultimately owes its existence to Victorian philanthropists who did so much for the well-being of the villagers of Southgate. In its present form, the fund was established by the Court of Chancery in 1950, when the court laid down how much the Southgate Club had to pay to purchase the lease of its premises in Chaseside, Southgate. The fund's early records were lost in a fire, but it's believed that the annual ground rent paid by the club was the original source of income. Subsequently, the fund has been supported by the investment of the price paid for the lease. The resources of the Southgate Cultural Fund are necessarily limited, but it deserves to be brought to a wider notice as an aspect of Southgate's history. The fund's operation is restricted to the area covered by the former borough of Southgate, which the trustees now interpret as the parliamentary constituency of Enfield Southgate. Its purpose is the provision of financial assistance for cultural activities undertaken by and for the benefit of groups of young people who are ineligible for support from Enfield Council. The definitions of a group and young people are for the trustees to decide, but broadly speaking, 3 or more are regarded as a group, and any age up to the early 20s is thought to be young. In the recent past, there have been grants to groups involved in music making, drama, bell ringing and scouting. Groups in Southgate who would like to be considered for a grant should apply to the trustees by post. The trustees will wish to know the activity of the group, the number of people involved, the age level, the purpose for which funds are required, and what money is already available. If you or anybody you know is interested in applying for a grant, please write to the fund, which is the Southgate Cultural Fund, 52 Townsend Avenue, Southgate, N14 7HJ.
And now for some local sport. Victory gets Southgate moving in the right direction again. Southgate recovered from their previous week's loss against Canterbury with a convincing 4-1 win over bottom side City of Peterborough to move back up to third place in the East Conference. John Sterling got the home side off to the best possible start, converting a penalty corner with only 3 minutes of the encounter gone. Aside from this early goal, though, opportunities were few and far between for both sides, with Peterborough playing more directly as opposed to Southgate's patient build-up. Southgate extended their lead in the 42nd minute when, after some fine work by Timothy Smith, found Matt Allister on the post to deflect the ball home. This momentarily sparked Peterborough into life, and they pulled a goal back 8 minutes later through Ben Newman. But the 2-goal advantage was restored in the 55th minute when a fine move involving Alex Williams, Guilio Farini and Adam Grout eventually led to Drew Birkin deflecting the ball in at the far post. The fourth and final goal came with 3 minutes remaining, and it was Alistair at the far post again to convert from Smith's ball and cement the win.
Borough stalemate, draw ends poor away run. Enfield Borough earned their first point away from home since August as a mid-table battle with Langdon ended 0-0 in Spartan South Midlands League Division 1. After winning their opening 2 away games of the season, Borough had been on an 8-match losing run on their travels, but they finally ended that spell in an uninspiring encounter. Both sides had chances early on, as Ali Bangura drove wide for the visitors and Kyle Watson couldn't keep control of his shot for the home side. Gary Kiangabeni had the best chance to break the deadlock when he bundled a shot past Ben Watson, but his effort was cleared off the line. Henderson Brown came the closest of both sides in the second half, cutting inside after a mazy run and seeing his effort thud off the crossbar. Largely, though, the game lacked quality, and both sides had to be content with a point.
Victory sees Enfield up to 6th in the table. Enfield Town moved up to 6th in the Bostik League Premier Division with a 3-1 home win against struggling Burgess Hill Town. A second-half double from Brilly Bricknell sealed Saturday's win after Carl Oliide had seen his opener cancelled out. The visitors made the brightest start to the game, with Jaron Rance shooting from a wide 25 yards before he also had a 13th minute free kick cleared away by the town defence. Hill continued to look like the more likely team to break the deadlock, and they wasted a glorious opportunity just over 20 minutes in when Wright dropped the ball straight at the feet of Jack Mallaret, but the striker dragged his effort wide. Town slowly began to gain a foothold in the game, and just before the half-hour mark, Sam Young's corner was flicked in on the crowded area, and Ollie Yeedy was there to tap home and give the hosts the lead. That lead, though, lasted barely a few minutes as Aaron Smith-Joseph, delivery from a left, found the unmarked Rance at the back post to strike past Wright and levelled the game. Enfield then thought they had gone ahead once again just before the break, but Bricknell's strike was ruled out for offside. The home side started the second period much better than they had the first, going close when Hatton got on the end of Matt Johnson's long throw, but his effort was held by Josh James. But Enfield were to go back in front only 4 minutes into the half, when Young's corner from the right was headed back across the box by Ruman, and Bricknell was there to apply the finishing touch. A third goal came almost straight after Mully got on the end of a Young's cross, but the former Maidenhead man's effort was straight at James. The next goal soon arrived though, and it gave Town the breathing space they required. Johnson picked up the ball in midfield after the visitors failed to clear, and he picked out Bricknell with a superb pass, with the forward taking a touch before finishing his second of the afternoon. Town were really going for it now, and Bilal Sayoud went close as James was equal to his 20-yard drive, while Bricknell flashed a left-footed effort just wide. 3 goals were enough, though, for Enfield to record a comfortable victory ahead of last night's Velocity Trophy semi-final against Bishop Stortford.
And here's an interview with Simon Schufort, who is part of a team aiming to build custom homes at affordable prices in Enfield. The number of renters in Enfield and across London has been rising rapidly over the past 2 decades. According to the Greater London Authority, more than 42% of people now rent socially or privately in the borough, compared to 28% at the turn of the century. Home ownership has become increasingly out of reach. Over a 20-year period, the average cost of a home in Enfield rose from 4 times the average income to 14 times. Statistics like these are the reason politicians today talk about a housing crisis, with young people in particularly affected by soaring rents and the inability to get a foot on the housing ladder. The government has introduced policies aimed at tackling the problem, such as Help to Buy scheme, while the GLA has introduced measures to try and boost the amount of affordable housing being built. But is it time to take a completely new approach to tackling the housing crisis? Simon Schufort believes so. He's one of a co-founder of a not-for-profit developer that's aiming to turn the concept of house building on its head, and he's using Enfield as a test case. Simon told Dispatch, "There were 4 of us who were friends working in the housing sector, but we simply couldn't afford to buy anywhere. We had been priced out of the communities where we had put down our own roots. We wondered if we could be part of the solution. We wanted to be part of the process of creating our own homes." Naked House, the community interest company run by Simon and his 3 friends, uses the concept of naked homes, where only the shell of a home is constructed. Leaving out fixtures and fittings dramatically lowers the cost of the building. It then means that the home buyer can complete the remainder of the work themselves, customising the interior to their own taste, using contractors or doing it themselves. "We realised it was something a lot of people might want to do," said Simon, "and that it could potentially help thousands of people. We start by looking at local people's incomes, and when we build something that is affordable to them, the opposite way round to other developers, and if you get to the basics right and make sure that it is where they want to be designed, well, you can give people the freedom to decide exactly what they want to do next, so they can adapt their own homes." After the initial concept won a design competition in 2016, Naked House obtained financial backing from the Mayor of London and is now working on launching its very first development, 22 new homes in Enfield. Simon and the team are currently working with Enfield Council to identify suitable sites where they can be built, with planning applications likely to be submitted next year. We're looking at underused sites, such as derelict garages that might be too small for the council to develop, but taken together can work. This will be an initial pilot project, but we want to scale it up in Enfield and then neighbouring boroughs like Haringey and elsewhere in London. We are in the middle of the biggest housing crisis for generations, and there is a desperate need to build housing. The homes, once built, will be allocated by the council to people who live and work in Enfield, using the standard criteria to assess housing need, and will cost 70% of the market value to buy. Simon says that by combining this discount with the naked concept, the homes will be affordable to people in Enfield earning an average wage. He recommends that anyone interested to register as a member of the Naked House for free. They can take part in discussions and get updates as the project progresses. It is about showing the demand is there for these homes, that people want to tap into the DIY spirit of what we are doing. It feels like now is a good time for innovation and affordable houses. In every crisis, there is an opportunity, and that is how Naked House fits in. Profit isn't our motive. Providing great homes is our motive. Now, for more information on this, you can visit their website, which is www.nakedhouse.org.
Residents lead GP technology research. You may have heard that the NHS published its long-term plan last month, but did you notice the promise that patients will be able to access virtual services alongside face-to-face services via a computer or smartphone? Here at Healthwatch Enfield, it is our role to ensure your views are represented and used to help develop future health and social care services. That's why we recently published our report, Using Technology to Ease the Burden on Primary Care, which shows the results of our survey of more than 1,000 Enfield residents. We asked how they felt about using online technology to contact their GP, as well as finding out how existing technology, such as appointment booking and prescription services, are already being used. Our research found that on average, 2 in 3 patients said they would use a trusted NHS symptom checker app, video calling and/or email to contact their GP to seek medical help. It also showed that appointment bookings and repeat prescriptions technology is being underused because of problems with accessing it. So, what happens next? As the largest survey of its kind in the UK, our timely report and analysis generated a considerable deal of interest from leading health providers. We presented our research findings to very receptive digital technology leads at NHS England and NHS Digital. Our research has made a compelling case for involving patients in co-designing these future systems as a go-to model for shaping future primary care services. We also highlighted sensitivities around patients not ready or not equipped to make the switch to virtual communications. We will continue to be involved in conversations with all of these providers to support the development of future services in a way that works for Enfield residents. Thank you to all our readers who participated in this research. It goes to show that your voice really does count, and together we can make change happen. You can read a full report on our website. In other news, we are running a new survey alongside Enfield Council to assess residents' awareness of the early signs and symptoms of cancer, to help develop a new cancer awareness campaign. It is really easy to give your views and only takes a few minutes. Just complete our online survey at smartsurvey.co.uk/s/cancer awareness. Please note that our annual conference on Thursday the 14th of February is now fully booked. You can still join our waiting list by calling us on the number below. And if you want to contact Enfield, Healthwatch Enfield, for any reason, the telephone number is 020 8373 6283, or you can visit them online, www.healthwatchenfield.co.uk, all in lowercase letters.
Directing the future. Richard Grant and James White are helping children in Enfield create their own mini-movies. We began Real Movie Magic last spring with the idea of creating filmmaking party experiences and clubs for children. We've both been teaching for many years, and the idea developed back when we were working together at the same school. We wanted to raise money for comic relief, so we decided to make a short film involving the pupils and the staff. Raising money for charity was brilliant, as it was seeing the buzz and excitement that the film created around the school from both children and adults alike. At that point, we knew we had hit upon something special, and we were proud to see what we'd achieved with no filmmaking experience and just a handheld camera. Developing the idea with our own class, I began doing film projects, introducing the children to genres that they would never have been exposed to before, such as silent comedies. The pupils then worked together to create their own films based on the different styles. We saw firsthand the amazing benefits of filmmaking for children, not only in developing their speaking, listening, writing, and computing skills, but also their ability to collaborate together. It was fantastic to see the look on their faces when they'd all finally watched their finished films. Real Movie Magic developed from this, but we've moved on quite a bit from our early days, and we've invested in professional equipment and added a real wow factor to the proceedings by acquiring a green screen to create fantastical special effects. With our new course of lessons, the children will learn about the different genres before working together to create their own films. They'll write scripts, use cameras, create storyboards, and edit. They'll even have a few special effects thrown in to spice things up a bit. We also have plans to show off their films at a red carpet awards ceremony, and we're incredibly excited about the possibilities for the future. We feel that we're offering something different, where children will get to learn new things as well as develop their love of films and filmmaking. We've also talked about the idea of working with schools and running workshops there, and who knows? After the comic relief film, we think that many of the adults would love to get involved as well. So maybe there's room to branch out there as well. A new 6-week filming course began for children aged 7 to 11 on the 9th of February and will take place at St Luke's Church Hall in Morley Hill. But for more information about what we are doing, please email realvideoevents, all one word, at gmail.com.
School anniversary. St Matthew's Church of England Primary School has celebrated its 180th anniversary. Past pupils and staff members were invited for a reunion tea party at the school in South Street to mark the milestone, while a Victorian-themed dance show featuring current pupils was also held. Head teacher Louise Whittaker said, "Both events have been really successful and the children have learnt so much about the history of the school and the surrounding areas. We were so proud of our Year 6 pupils who were excellent guides to our visitors, and all the pupils performed their dances and songs with joy and enthusiasm."
And here's a letter entitled Dubious Stats. Dear Enfield Dispatch, the article about new cycle lanes, Mayor praises new cycle lanes, page 7, issue 4, was interesting, not least because of the way it played with statistics. The article stated that the segregated cycle lanes along green lanes through Palmer's Green and Winchmore Hill have seen a 52% increase in cycling, according to Transport for London, TfL. Enfield Council does not publish any regular statistics about cycle journeys. The only London council that does is Bromley. There was a TfL survey in 2 locations on green lanes in early 2018, but the information had to be requested from the council. It showed the number of journeys, but not the number of individuals. So again, doesn't reflect the true picture. The 52% increase on green lanes is dubious. How many cyclists were counted? And how many journeys? I think it is meaningless without a qualifying breakdown of how it was arrived at. One thing I do know is what I see with my own eyes, and the uptake on cycle lanes is not that high. And that's from Neil Littman in Winchmore Hill.
And finally, we have a letter from Air Vice Marshal David Murray, Chief Executive of the RAF Benevolent Fund. Last month's vandalism at the Bomber Command Memorial highlighted the worst and the very best of our communities. I cannot thank your readers enough for their incredible support in the wake of this shocking paint attack. To date, we have received more than £25,000 in donations to help the RAF Benevolent Fund meet the repair bill. Repair works have now been completed on the memorial, and it's now returned to its former glory. As well as the donations received, the RAF Benevolent Fund had thousands of messages of support from around the world. It was heartwarming to see how well the memorial, the veterans, and the 55,573 men it stands to represent are thought of. We must never forget their sacrifices, and the RAF Benevolent Fund is proud to be the guardian of this tribute to their legacy for generations to come. As the fund enters its 100th year of support for the RAF family, we must not forget those veterans who are still with us. Our aim this year is to ask for the public's help in reaching more of these veterans and their families while we still can. Our support could help pay for the care costs of an RAF widow, or provide the mobility aids to keep an elderly veteran at home, or simply allow a veteran to enjoy his retirement in dignity and comfort through a regular financial grant. Put simply, the RAF Benevolent Fund looks after the RAF family. If you know someone in need of support, contact our free support line on 0800 169 2942 or email at rafbf.org.uk.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So, from the team of Maureen, Ros, Katherin and Dem on the controls, it's bye! Bye-bye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet in a closed position and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.